Hey, happy Monday or whatever day it may be, wherever you are. I have Braska right here. She wanted to join the conversation and say hello. So say hi, Braska. But today we're going to talk about confidence as an artist. I have opened this platform up for questions. And one of the questions I got was about how to cultivate or develop your confidence as an artist and how long it took for me to feel confident. And that brings me to a situation within the past couple weeks where I was doing an installation with my transporter and my installer, so a team of three people and people that I've worked with for a long time, people that have known me, people that have seen my journey, see me grow and develop. And on the way back afterwards, I asked them, I said, well, be honest with me. What did you think of that? Did you think that I did an okay job? Do you think that they were happy with it? Do you think that they were satisfied? And they looked a little taken back. They were a little surprised. And they said, no, they absolutely loved it. They were blown away. They weren't expecting any of that, especially all the little add-ons and things that were done in addition to what was agreed upon. And the conversation went a little bit further. And I mentioned how sometimes, even with all the experience I have, having done this for so long, having over 100 exhibitions and having worked in several dozen countries and being in the media several dozen times and dozens of publications and awards, I still sometimes question my value, my worth as an artist. I sometimes wonder if I'm really any good, if I'm really someone that has any talent, or if I have been fooling people all along, if I've been fooling myself. And they were really kind of thrown off because they've, as I mentioned, have been following me for so long. And they said, no, what you do definitely has substance and value. But it's just interesting how perception works, how people on the outside can view you and how you can view yourself. And you could have it where people on the outside don't value you, but you do value yourself, or vice versa, or any mixture. I think that there really is a spectrum there. But it's really an interesting thing for me because it's not something that you develop and that it's there. I think that because of my life experiences and because of who I am and just how I'm built mentally, that I have these periods of doubt. And no matter how much work I put in, I have these things that creep in and make me start to doubt myself. I start to question, is my work any good? Is what I do of any value? Is it worth what I'm charging? Should I continue doing this? Should I come on and do talks to people? For people, do I have anything valuable to say or any insights? Am I really somebody that deserves to have a platform to be able to reach out to people? So it's a really interesting thing to even dive into that topic, into thinking about that. And I think that as long as there is an openness and an honesty, there's always going to be value there. And I think that that is the thing about my work, is that even when I have these periods of self doubt or critical analysis, or where I'm not feeling my most confident, I will still make the work, and I will have the work reflect whatever it is that I'm feeling at the time. So this past year, when things were difficult at times, I did a lot of work that was blue or gray, or that reflected whatever it was that I was feeling wherever I was. And I think that by offering that vulnerability, that honesty, that had this beauty to it. And so I think that, yes, you do not necessarily have to be a confident artist to be a good artist or a great artist or to create beautiful work. And conversely, I don't think that confidence is necessarily the determining factor of whether or not you are a good or successful artist. I think that a lot of people do like confidence, but I think that a lot of bravado or false bravado or hubris can be problematic. And there have been times, and I do have these moments, I have these periods of hubris, of almost excessive pride, that come in these small bursts, and then sometimes these long lulls where there's really not necessarily an abundance of confidence, and sometimes even periods of great self-doubt, or I don't necessarily want to say doubt, but reflection and introspection as to, well, what is the actual value of what I do? Am I really being my best self? Am I falling short? What could I do to be more, to do more? And so I think that in a way, I'd almost rather be in this place of sorts where there's not an excess of confidence, where I do sort of dive inward and humble myself at times and remember that I'm not better than any other artist or any other person out there. I'm just a person that shares my stories. And as long as I continue to be honest in sharing my stories and vulnerable, that they will have a beauty and something of value to offer those that connect with them. But yeah, I don't think that there's a point that you necessarily just can check off, I'm a confident artist, because there are always going to be people throwing criticism at you. And the bigger you get, the more criticism that will be hurled at you. It's just the nature of the game and how the business works is the more that you're in the public eye, the more criticism you will be subjected to. And that's not to deter anybody. It's just something to be aware of. So in a way, it's good when you can kind of build slowly if you're somebody that struggles with these things, because it allows you to condition yourself and to kind of prepare you without having a major spike, whether up or down, in terms of these things, because those can be very difficult. And I know that there were periods earlier in my career where I did have a lot of success, tremendous amounts of success that came just in these very quick bursts. And I don't think that I was prepared to deal with it. And so I think that I was a bit prideful at times, and I started to forget who I am and what I am and why I do the things that I do and where I come from. And I think that that's an important thing to remember. So I'm glad that life has humbled me at times, but it's interesting. So when you deal with other people out there, just as I was having these conversations with my installer and my transporter, you may have this perception of how another artist or how a person sees themselves, but it may in fact not be entirely accurate. So in terms of building your confidence as an artist, I have to say that one of the best things you can do is just to continuously put yourself out there and to continue doing the things that you do, continue making work, continue putting work out there. So again, it comes down to that conditioning and building, and doing it when you don't necessarily want to. Sometimes I think that if you can do the difficult things when you don't want to, I think that it helps better prepare you for having to deal with those difficult times. And I think that that's what's worked for me. So again, as a famous artist in art history mentioned, and let's see if somebody else can pick up on who said it, but there was an artist that said, when you feel like you can't paint, by all means paint and prove yourself wrong. Of course, I'm paraphrasing there. But yeah, so when there is that sense of doubt, it's a matter of working through it sometimes. And I find that that helps instill that confidence, in a sense, back within you. But there are some people that are just always going to struggle with their confidence, no matter how much success that they have. There are some tremendously successful people out there that struggle with their sense of self-worth and confidence. And in fact, I think that some of the people that struggle most with those things are some of these people that are on the top. I think that it can kind of throw you off a little bit at times. But I am on a journey to constantly work on myself, and I have come to an understanding that it is going to be a lifelong journey. But I just want to come on and share some of my thoughts and my struggles with confidence as an artist, because there are times definitely where I feel like, wow, I'm a decent painter, or I'm a good painter, or a few perhaps times in life, oh, I'm a very good painter. And then there have been times where I've asked myself, God, do you even know what you're doing? And of course I know what I'm doing. I've done this for such a long time. But we all have these voices that creep in those times where we're a little bit vulnerable or feeling a little bit weak. And we all face and deal with these struggles, whether we want to admit it or not. And anybody that denies having these struggles, I think, is probably not being honest with themselves. So I think it comes down to being honest with yourself. And that's a great platform or base to start building your platform upon. So those are my thoughts on confidence as an artist. I hope you have a good day. Check out CariniArts.com. I do have a show coming up, and of course, here on YouTube, you may be seeing this years from now. I just kind of am putting stuff out there so that long after my time, whenever my time may come, that hopefully I can continue to share thoughts and help other people on their journeys. So I hope you have a good day. Take care. CariniArts.com.